His best bet would be to distance himself completely, make it clear to Harry that the Sussexes are not welcome at all in Britain for a very, very long time.
Remember, 47 minutes is not a reconciliation. It's not a get-together, we're so thrilled to see you.
Meghan Markle felt humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent UK trip, and that the trip turned into a nightmare.
King Charles has officially met Meghan, Harry, Archie and Lily.
Tom Bower reveals what really happened at Meghan's Highgrove meeting with King Charles. The King right now, his best bet would be to distance himself completely, make it clear to Harry and Meghan that the Sussexes are simply not welcome in Britain for a very, very long time. Remember, 47 minutes is not a reconciliation. It is not a heartwarming family get-together. It is not a, we are so thrilled to see you moment. So why was Meghan Markle reportedly left feeling utterly humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent trip to the UK? Why did a carefully orchestrated PR move rapidly turn into an absolute nightmare behind closed doors? Investigative biographer Tom Bower has just dropped a bombshell, claiming he has uncovered what really happened during that shocking, tightly controlled 47-minute encounter at Highgrove House. What was supposed to be a golden opportunity to rebuild family ties, flex royal credentials, and fix a collapsing brand instantly spiraled into a cold, transactional confrontation that raised far more questions than it answered. Did Meghan really expect a red carpet and a warm embrace from King Charles? Or was this entire trip a desperate, calculated gamble to salvage a fading commercial empire? By the end of this breakdown, you will see why experts believe those 47 minutes may have officially sealed the Sussexes' fate forever. To truly understand the sheer magnitude of this latest high-stakes royal disaster, we have to pull back the curtain on the players involved and look at the trail of chaotic debris they have left behind over the past several years. We are talking about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a couple whose post-royal trajectory has devolved into a masterclass in strategic miscalculation, commercial desperation, and unprecedented public fatigue. Ever since they dramatically walked away from their duties in what the world infamously dubbed Megxit, the Sussexes have attempted to build a parallel royal court in the sunny enclave of Montecito, California. They promised a life of global philanthropy, financial independence, and high-minded creative ventures. But what did the world actually get instead? An endless stream of sensationalized interviews, a score settling accusaries, a bombshell memoir packed with bizarre personal grievances, and a relentless campaign of public mudslinging targeted directly at the very institution that gives them their entire public identity. For a brief moment, the Hollywood elite cheered them on, throwing open the doors to massive multi-million-dollar deals with streaming giants and media conglomerates. But fast forward to the present day, and the narrative has shifted so drastically that even their most ardent defenders are beginning to look away in sheer embarrassment. Their commercial ventures are stalling, their high-profile podcasts have been axed, executive after executive has publicly branded them as uninspired and difficult to work with, and Meghan's much-hyped lifestyle brand encountered embarrassing operational hurdles before it could even properly launch. The brutal reality of their situation has set in with terrifying clarity. Outside the protective, ancient umbrella of the British monarchy, the Sussex brand is rapidly losing its luster, its value, and its relevance. And that brings us directly to the doorstep of Highgrove House, the private country residence of King Charles in Gloucestershire. According to explosive leaks, private disclosures, and the meticulous investigative analysis of Tom Bower, the Sussexes did not land in the United Kingdom out of some sudden, pure outburst of filial piety. They did not fly across the Atlantic simply to share a warm cup of tea and reminisce about happier times. This trip was a cold, calculated, high-stakes reconnaissance mission designed to reverse the disastrous effects of their self-inflicted isolation. With their commercial deals drying up, their security bills mounting into the millions, and their global popularity hitting historic lows, Harry and Meghan desperately needed to re-establish a visible, tangible link to the British monarchy. They needed the ultimate currency in modern celebrity culture, a royal validation stamp. The strategy was simple yet aggressive. Use the Invictus Games, Harry's admirable and undisputed crown jewel of charitable endeavours, as the ultimate Trojan horse. By framing the UK visit around an internationally respected sports competition for wounded veterans, the couple hoped to present a solemn, dignified front that would make it virtually impossible for the royal family to turn them away. And to raise the emotional stakes to absolute maximum, they decided to bring the ultimate leverage, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. For years, critics have noted how the promise of spending time with his distant grandchildren remains one of the few emotional vulnerabilities King Charles possesses. The stage was set for what the Sussex camp allegedly envisioned as a triumphant, emotional family reunion, a moment that could be quietly fed to friendly media outlets, spun into an inspiring narrative of healing, and used to reignite their declining commercial appeal across the globe. However, if Meghan and Harry thought they were walking into a naive, emotionally defenseless royal trap, they severely miscalculated the man sitting on the throne and the formidable advisors surrounding him. King Charles may be a loving father, and he may indeed harbour a deep, aching desire to know his grandchildren, but he is also a seasoned monarch, who has weathered decades of grueling public controversies and institutional crises. Furthermore, he is acutely aware of the fierce, unyielding stance taken by his eldest son and heir, Prince William, who reportedly views any potential rehabilitation of the Sussexes as an absolute non-negotiable threat to the future stability of the crown. William and Catherine have made their positions crystal clear behind closed doors. There can be no return, no partial duties, and no strategic photo ops for a couple that has systematically betrayed the trust of the family for monetary gain. So, when the news reached the palace that Harry and Meghan were seeking an audience, the royal machinery immediately went into overdrive. This was not going to be a casual, wide-open weekend retreat at a palace. This was not going to be an unmonitored emotional catch-up over lunch. The King's Inner Circle devised an ironclad operational blueprint designed to balance basic paternal courtesy with ruthless, airtight institutional protection. The terms were set, the parameters were drawn, and the stage was arranged for what would become the most intensely managed, icy, and surreal 47 minutes in modern royal history. As the convoy of tinted vehicles slipped through the gates of Highgrove, hidden among a larger procession of vehicles arriving for a routine official function to ensure zero media suspicion, the atmosphere inside the residence was already thick with undeniable tension. Meghan had reportedly spent the journey mentally preparing for a triumphant moment, expecting a soft, welcoming atmosphere where she could subtly exert her influence, showcase the children, and lay the groundwork for a broader reconciliation that could be monetized later down the line. But the moment she stepped over the threshold, the sheer cold reality of their true standing in the eyes of the British monarchy hit her like a tidal wave. There were no sweeping grand gestures. There were no emotional embraces or tearful declarations. Instead, the Sussexes were greeted with the precise, polished, and impenetrable formality of a high-level diplomatic meeting between adversarial nations. Every single aspect of the encounter had been meticulously scripted by palace officials to ensure that Harry and Meghan were given absolutely zero maneuvering room, zero opportunity for emotional manipulation, and most importantly, zero material that could ever be converted into a profitable public narrative. The king stood before his son and daughter-in-law not just as a grandfather, but as the absolute guardian of an ancient institution that had finally drawn an indelible line in the sand. And as those first tense moments ticked away, the sheer horror of what this meant began to settle over the visitors. The golden aura of royal status they had taken for granted for so long was no longer something they could simply claim whenever their private business ventures ran into trouble. They were being received not as returning royalty, but as estranged, highly risky family members subject to strict security protocols, explicit ground rules, and an unspoken, but crystal-clear ultimatum. The stage was set for a total breakdown of their carefully crafted strategy, setting off a cascade of shocking revelations that would soon leak out from behind the high stone walls of Highgrove House, proving once and for all that the palace had officially taken back complete control of the narrative, the moment the heavy wooden doors of Highgrove House closed behind the Sussexes, the true nature of this encounter became painfully obvious. According to detailed insider reports and investigative findings pieced together by Tom Bauer, the palace had crafted an environment that was so hyper-controlled, so completely devoid of warmth, that it felt more like a corporate deposition than a long-awaited family reunion. For years, the narrative pushed out from Montecito suggested that the royal family was desperate for reconciliation, that King Charles was constantly pining for his youngest son, and that the monarchy was suffering in their absence. But as those 47 minutes began to tick away, the reality proved to be the exact opposite. The palace was not pleading, it was dictating terms. The room itself had been set up with deliberate, clinical precision. There were no comfortable couches arranged for intimate, candid conversations, no private nooks where Harry could lean in and whisper personal grievances, and certainly no setting that would allow for casual, unmonitored interaction. Present alongside King Charles was Queen Camilla, a figure whose very inclusion served a vital, strategic purpose. Camilla was not there merely to offer polite hostessing or passive presence, she was placed in that room as the ultimate witness. Having been the target of some of Harry's most blistering, personal attacks in his memoir, her presence was a quiet, powerful reminder of the deep scars left by the couple's public campaign. More importantly, her presence guaranteed that every single word uttered, every gesture made, and every reaction displayed would have an undeniable, second witness. This was a direct, calculated defense against the very tactic the palace feared most, the inevitable post-meeting leak where conversations are reframed, selective quotes are fed to friendly American outlets, and a new wave of victimhood is launched. From the very beginning of the dialogue, the atmosphere was defined by polite, surface-level chit-chat, the kind of airy, meaningless conversation the royal family has elevated to an art form over centuries. They discussed the weather, the upkeep of the Highgrove Gardens, and brief, neutral pleasantries regarding the children. But the moment the conversation threatened to drift toward anything resembling real substance, the ongoing legal battles over Harry's security, the status of their commercial deals, or their desire for a semi-official role during future visits, the king firmly, expertly steered the topic back to safe, neutral ground. There was no discussion of policy, no bargaining over royal duties, and absolutely no acknowledging of past grievances. It was a masterclass in institutional stonewalling, wrapped in the smooth, impenetrable velvet of traditional British manners. For Meghan, this was perhaps the most crushing blow of all. She had reportedly arrived expecting to utilize her personal charm and the presence of the grandchildren to soften the king, hoping to secure, at least a symbolic endorsement, or a subtle public statement that could rehabilitate their standing. Instead, she found herself completely sidelined, stripped of any ability to control the room. The power dynamic had flipped entirely. For years, the Sussexes had used the media as a cudgel against the firm, releasing explosive interviews and accusaries while the palace maintained a dignified, silent stance of never complain, never explain. But at Highgrove, the palace used that very same silence as a weapon. By refusing to engage in emotional debate, by setting a strict, unyielding time limit, and by keeping the entire interaction frozen at the level of formal courtesy, King Charles effectively neutralized every single leverage point the couple thought they possessed. Adding to the tension was the recent, deeply humiliating row over accommodation that had unfolded just hours before the meeting. The Sussex camp had made a public spectacle out of their security concerns, painting a picture of a hostile environment in the UK where they were left unprotected and exposed. Reports had circulated that Harry was offered rooms at Buckingham Palace, one of the most secure, heavily guarded fortresses in the world, only for the offer to be left unanswered until it was abruptly withdrawn by royal officials due to scheduling and security protocols. The message behind that administrative move was clear: you no longer have a standing key to the royal estates. You do not dictate terms to the crown, and you cannot demand palace accommodations on your own terms while simultaneously suing the British government over your protection details. As the minutes ticked away toward the 47-minute mark, the emotional disconnect between the two parties grew so vast that even the brief interaction with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet could not bridge the chasm. While King Charles undoubtedly felt a quiet, personal sadness over the distance between himself and his grandchildren, his duty as monarch superseded his desires as a grandfather. He was acutely aware that Prince William and Catherine were watching this situation with absolute vigilance from afar. William had made it abundantly clear to his father that any concession made to Harry and Meghan, any crack in the door that allowed them to claim they were half in and half out of the monarchy, would be seen as a direct betrayal of the working royals who had carried the heavy burden of duty during one of the most turbulent periods in modern royal history. The presence of the children, which was supposed to be the ultimate emotional wildcard, failed to alter the fundamental calculus of the meeting. The palace officials had ensured that no official photographers were anywhere near the property, no candid family portraits were snapped, and no visual evidence of the reunion was generated. In the hyper-visual universe of modern celebrity and digital branding, an unphotographed meeting is a commercial dead end. Without a single image of King Charles holding his grandchildren, or standing warmly alongside Harry and Meghan, the Sussexes were left with zero content to monetize, zero visuals to attach to future documentary pictures, and zero proof to offer global media outlets that a true reconciliation was underway. The brief visit concluded not with a warm, lingering farewell, but with the crisp, efficient precision of a scheduled appointment reaching its designated end. As the Sussexes were escorted back to their waiting convoy of vehicles, the reality of what had transpired began to sink in with brutal clarity. They had not secured a foot back in the door, they had been given a polite, unyielding tour of the threshold. They had not been welcomed back into the fold, they had been shown, in no uncertain terms, that the boundaries around the monarchy were now made of solid iron. The 47 minutes that were supposed to mark the beginning of their grand royal comeback had instead exposed the absolute limits of their influence, setting off an immediate, chaotic aftermath behind the scenes that would send shockwaves through their entire operation. The immediate aftermath of those 47 minutes at Highgrove House was defined not by quiet reflection, but by a frantic wave of realization that the balance of power had permanently shifted. As the dark-tinted SUVs sped away from the Gloucestershire estate, the silence inside the vehicle was reportedly deafening. Meghan, who had entered the meeting hoping to orchestrate a triumphant narrative of family healing and restored prestige, was left confronting a reality where her strategic influence had completely evaporated. The palace had not thrown down the gauntlet, or engaged in a dramatic confrontation, they had simply held up an unbreakable mirror of formal detachment. By offering nothing more than polite small talk, refusing any photographic documentation, and keeping the interaction strictly constrained to a brief time slot, King Charles had executed a masterclass in modern crisis management. Back in California and across international media circles, the fallout from this icy encounter began to send immediate shockwaves through the couple's broader commercial strategy. The entire Sussex business model, from multi-million-dollar production deals to high-end lifestyle branding, relies on a single, indispensable pillar: proximity to the British Crown. Without that golden thread of royal authority, authenticity, and access, the brand risks dissolving into just another standard Hollywood celebrity enterprise, competing in a saturated market where audiences are notoriously fickle and executive patience is razor-thin. For years, media critics and industry insiders had warned that turning grievances against the royal family into a primary source of content was a finite strategy. Once the tell-all books are written, the documentaries are streamed, and the bombshell interviews are aired, the public appetite inevitably wanes, leaving a desperate search for what comes next. According to Tom Bower's sharp analysis, the Highgrove meeting represented the absolute end of the road for the couple's long-cherished dream of a half-in, half-out royal existence. They had long envisioned a lifestyle where they could enjoy the glamour, international prestige, and diplomatic clout of royal status while simultaneously operating as commercial free agents in North America, signing lucrative endorsement deals, launching consumer product lines, and picking and choosing which traditional duties to attend. But the royal family's response was absolute, consistent, and uncompromising. You are either fully committed to serving the crown and the public without private commercial gain, or you are entirely outside the institution, navigating the commercial marketplace on your own without palace backing, state security privileges, or official royal endorsements. This unyielding stance has placed immense pressure on Meghan's latest venture, an ambitious lifestyle brand designed to mirror the massive success of established celebrity platforms. However, without the glittering backdrop of active royal life, without the iconic imagery of palace balconies, state banquets, and official royal tours, the brand struggles to establish a distinct, high-value identity. Reports indicate that potential investors, corporate partners, and distribution networks are becoming increasingly hesitant to commit top-tier capital to projects that no longer carry the direct, undeniable aura of the British monarchy. The harsh economic truth of their situation is becoming impossible to ignore. Security costs running into millions of dollars annually, massive estate mortgages, legal fees, and private public relations firms require an extraordinary, continuous stream of high-level revenue that becomes exponentially harder to secure when your primary selling point is an estranged relationship with your family. Meanwhile, behind the ancient stone walls of Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace, the strategy going forward has been locked into place with absolute unity. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have taken a firm, resolute stance regarding the long-term protection of the monarchy. They view the preservation of institutional integrity as a duty that far outweighs any short-term personal or family accommodations. William, as the heir to the throne, recognizes that allowing the monarchy's prestige to be diluted or monopolized by non-working family members would set a dangerous precedent that could undermine the foundation of the institution for generations to come. The king, fully aligned with his eldest son on matters of state and institutional survival, has made it abundantly clear that while paternal love will always exist in private, the public identity and operational boundaries of the British monarchy are non-negotiable. The strategic isolation of the Sussexes in the UK was further highlighted by the absolute silence that followed the visit. In years past, major royal interactions were routinely followed by immediate leaks, background briefings, and carefully placed quotes in sympathetic media outlets designed to shape public perception. But following the Highgrove encounter, the palace's ironclad control over information proved impenetrable. By enforcing strict ground rules, establishing that the meeting was strictly private, and ensuring that Queen Camilla was present as a direct witness to every single moment, the palace effectively built an impenetrable wall against narrative spin. Any attempt by outside camps to leak selective details or reframe the tone of the meeting would immediately be exposed as a breach of trust, effectively severing whatever fragile personal ties still remain. As Harry returned to his commitments with the Invictus Games, the one endeavor that continues to earn him genuine respect and public goodwill, the stark contrast between his past royal life and his current isolation became glaringly obvious. The Invictus Games demonstrate what Harry is capable of achieving when he focuses on genuine public service and honoring wounded veterans. Yet, even this noble platform is continuously overshadowed by the dark, persistent cloud of ongoing family drama, legal battles over security, and commercial uncertainties. The fundamental question hanging over the Duke of Sussex is no longer when he will return to royal life, but how he will successfully navigate the next several decades without the structural support, security infrastructure, and immense institutional backing he enjoyed for the vast majority of his life. The 47 minutes at Highgrove House did not represent a quiet step toward a tearful family reconciliation, nor did they provide the Sussexes with the triumphant public relations victory they so desperately needed to reignite their global brand. Instead, those brief, hyper-controlled minutes served as a definitive, historic turning point. King Charles, operating with the full weight and authority of the Crown, drew a clear, permanent line in the sand between private family courtesy and official royal duty. The palace proved that it no longer fears the media maneuvers or commercial plays originating from Montecito. The vault is locked, the boundaries are drawn, and the royal chapter for Harry and Meghan as working royals is not merely on pause, it is permanently, undeniably closed, And that is the absolute, bombshell truth about what really happened during those 47 tense minutes at Highgrove House. The palace has officially drawn an ironclad line in the sand, sending a crystal-clear message to Montecito that the royal vault is locked and the days of leveraging the crown for commercial gain are officially over. King Charles balanced paternal courtesy with unyielding royal authority, leaving Harry and Meghan with no photographs, no new deals, and no path back into working royal life. Now, the biggest question remains: how will the Sussexes respond to this crushing reality check? Do you think King Charles handled this situation with total perfection by setting strict boundaries? Or should he have given Harry and Meghan another chance for the sake of his grandchildren? Was this 47-minute meeting a masterclass in royal crisis management? Or is this bitter family feud only going to get worse from here? Drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this ongoing royal drama. If you found this deep dive breakdown insightful, smash that like button right now, share this video with your fellow royal watchers, and make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all post notifications so you never miss a single update on the biggest breaking stories. Thanks for watching, and stay